My topic today centers on mistreatment of Africans in China. It is unacceptable for any Africans to be treated the way the Chinese are treating Africans in their country. This is something we cannot tolerate in this day and age. So I'm calling the Chinese authority to investigate and take action on this Chinese group of Chinese people that are maltreating the Africans. You see, if you don't have self-respect, we Africans have self-respect for ourselves. So it is very, very important we call a spade a spade. The Chinese authority has a responsibility to investigate and to stop the mistreatment of Africans. Because we don't treat Chinese in this bad way, the way they are treating Africans. So for a long time, Africans have been going through torment and disrespect in foreign countries. But time has come for we Africans to stand on our feet and say enough is enough. Because if we don't do that, it becomes a problem for us. It comes home to haunt us. So we can no longer tolerate this kind of mistreatment, disrespecting Africans, calling them names, driving them away from their homes, leaving them on the streets, leaving them on code, leaving them, to unassisted. So the problem today is for Chinese people to take clear responsibility to see what is going on in China. Why are some Chinese people treating Africans, bad in their own country? Why are they mistreating them? Why are they disrespecting them? That is the question. Because if the Chinese truly love Africans the way they claim, they should not be allowed to treat Africans in a disrespectful way. We have millions of Chinese in Africa. We have millions of them in different parts of Africa, including Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya. These Chinese people are going about doing their business honorably and without being disrespected. I don't see the reason why Africans should be treated in a different way. Now, it is not acceptable. We've endured it in the past. We've received this kind of treatment in the past. But this current time, we will not tolerate it. We Africans, we have a history of being bruised. And that bruise has not healed. So we are not tied. We can now take action for ourselves. So if you look at what we went through from colonization to slavery, these things have really impacted on Africans. And for anybody to take advantage of these exploits, take advantage of these things is unacceptable. Because it comes home to affect everybody. This kind of treatment is not what we are supposed to be receiving today. Now, what happened in China, whether it's coronavirus or any other thing, the Africans are not responsible for the coronavirus that happened in China. And you cannot, because of your misfortune, take it onto yourself to be disrespecting Africans. So if you are disrespecting, if you don't have respect for your own citizens, we have respect for our own citizens. And if we continue to treat Africans the way they are being treated on the streets of China, we will start treating Chinese the same way. We give them the same coin. I remember those days when Chinese people, 60s, When Chinese people are not allowed, Africans are not allowed to come into the bar, to make sales, to sell, or to do businesses elsewhere. But now the Chinese who suffer the same fate have turned against Africans and start treating them that way. That means they have not learned anything. That means they don't understand their history. So it is I have to send this message loud and clear that Africans will no longer tolerate this kind of disrespect. We will no longer tolerate this kind of behavior, this kind of mad behavior and senseless behavior. How can you drive the citizens of other countries, of other countries out of their hotels? You seize their passports and you don't want to give them houses. You don't want them to rent accommodation. This is unjustified. And if it continues, I'm calling on African Union, African leaders to give China, to treat them the same way they're treating Africans. Because I know that Chinese people are doing business in Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and in fact, all African countries. So I know that Chinese, they have a way they treat their citizens. We are not expected to treat our citizens the same way they treat their citizens, in a mad way. They might be authoritarian, where we are not dictatorial in our own system of government. And in that process, the Chinese authority, has a responsibility to pass on to their citizens that they should respect Africans. That Africans are human beings. They cannot be treated in that way. We are people that love liberty. We are people that love to interact, to work with other people. So if you introduce racism, hatred, it doesn't work well. It really doesn't work well. So I'm using this opportunity to sound it loud and clear, to add my voice that Chinese authorities should take responsibility. That Chinese authorities should do something different. That Chinese authorities should understand that the world has moved on. Ignorance and stupidity is no longer tolerated. It is stated that a heart that only matches the beat of the internal drum is a sick one. So that shows that the Chinese authority and some of the Chinese people are sick. If the authority is not looking after the vulnerable or the immigrants in their own country, that means they are sick. That means they don't understand things. That means they are still in dictatorial regime. So we are calling on Chinese authority to respect the rule of law, to respect diplomatic agreement and relationship, international relationship, to honor this relationship, and to treat Africans according to the law, in a way that is responsible, not in a crude way. Sometimes they treat their citizens. So it is now incumbent on Africans to begin to speak out, to go against this kind of wave, to go against this tide, to speak out, because we cannot tolerate this kind of mistreatment and disrespect on fellow Africans. We Africans need to speak up. Don't say your voice doesn't make a difference. If you add your voice, it makes a difference. So whatever you say makes a hell of difference. A drop of water makes an ocean. So it is now time for us to speak up. It is not longer time for us to keep quiet. Look at what happened in America. If the Americans during civil rights, if they had kept quiet, Martin Luther had kept quiet, Rosa Parks had kept quiet, we will not have the freedom we are having today. We will not have self-respect we are having today. So time has come. The same challenge has reared up. The same problem has come up in China. So it is now the duty of every African to stand on his feet and condemn what is happening in China. because we will no longer be silent over these things. Martin Luther said it, when we are silent over things that matters, we begin to die. We start dying when we become silent over things that matters. So the issue of mistreatment and disrespectfulness on the side of some Chinese people is something that we need to pay attention to. It's something that we need to speak out. We can't be silent over these things. So, because if you are silent, you are complicit. If you are silent, you are saying that what they are doing is good. If you are silent, you are encouraging bullying. If you are silent, you are telling them that you don't have respect for yourself. If you are silent, you are telling them, look, you are not aware of your own responsibility. So on this basis, I am calling all Africans, both the rich and poor, to express their opinion, to come out en masse and speak out. Don't be silent wherever you are staying. Don't be silent in your corner and think other people have to do it. No, it is your responsibility to speak out against this evil treatment, against this bad treatment, against this mistreatment the Africans in China are receiving. Because if we don't speak out, they keep on repeating it. And if you don't speak out, we are saying we are powerless. We are not powerless. We are in no way powerless. So keeping quiet is a choice. And we've done that in the past. It has never helped us. Now is the opportunity for us to speak up. Don't leave it for few number of people to speak up. You have to speak up. You have access to the social media. So this time is not a time where we bury our head in the sand and pretend nothing is happening. Remember, Albert Einstein said, the people that destroy the world are not criminals. That the people that destroy the world are the silent people, the silent citizens. So citizens of Africa, Nigerian citizens, Kenyan citizens, South African citizens, Ugandan citizens, the Cameroonians, all these people, it is time now for us to speak out. It is now for us to speak up and condemn this kind of bullying and mistreatment. This is where we have to stand. Because I used to ask myself, how was it possible for Europeans to colonize Africa? But now I've come to understand that, see, it's because when this kind of thing happened, the people that experience it keep quiet. The citizens, the people around kept quiet. That was how gradually they saw it and came to understanding that it was possible to mistreat Africans, to enslave them and to colonize them. So time has come for us to be proactive. Time has come for us to act. It is now. It's not tomorrow. You must act now. Because if you don't act now, what happened in Berlin Conference will happen to us. I used to say, how come a little country, a small country like England or Portugal or Spain, coming down to Africa and they enslaved them, put them on chain and took them away? They did it because we were silent. They did it because we failed to respond. They did it because we failed to express ourselves. They did it because we were able to, tolerate it. So, but this time around, we have access to social media. We have access to information. So you have to communicate. You see, you have a divine gift. This divine gift is the power of speech, the power to speak. Speak out. Don't be silent. Don't keep on dancing and say it doesn't concern me. Because it will eventually concern you. The people that were taken into slavery, if they had fought, if they had rejected it, if they had rejected the war, it wouldn't have come to them. So you might say, it's not going to affect me, I'm in the United States. It's not going to affect me, I'm in UK. It's not going to affect me, I'm in Germany. But they will come down If you tolerate what that's happening in China, eventually you are teaching other people the way to treat Africans. You know, you are eventually telling them, look, treat them bad. They can tolerate it. They are animals. We are not animals. Time has come for us to stand on our feet and face the music. Because it's better you face the music than to die as a coward. So we Africans must rise to our feet. We need to speak out. Don't leave it for your neighbor. If you hear this message, speak out. Go on social media. Say what you want to say. Don't be silent. Silence is not golden. Silence is not golden. I am telling you. In this context, silence is not golden. We used to believe that silence is golden. Silence is not golden. You can't be silent. So being silent does not solve our problem. If we keep on tolerating this, they will keep on doing it. What they're doing now, they're trying to examine the water. See, if we treat these people bad, how are they going to respond? And if we don't respond with the same equal action, they will continue it. Before they know it, will be rounded up. And for African leaders, you need to be wise. You see, when you are dealing with the Chinese people, they are not your friends. You see, recolonization is possible. See, it's possible for us to be colonized again through our economic agenda. So enslavement could happen again. And gradually it's coming because of the way you give up your right, the way you submit, you negotiate with them on the economic scale of things. So if you are negotiating for loan and playing into their hand, they are gradually establishing a kind of control over your economy, over your culture, over your relationship, and eventually control over your land. As we are seeing in some places now, they are gradually taking care of your culture. Now you are now speaking Chinese language, introducing Chinese language in your schools. So you are now directly accepting colonization. The way you are trading money with goods with the Chinese will eventually get every African enslaved. Because by the time they are building military bases in Africa, they are gradually establishing their military forces. And before you know it, they will expand and then they round you up. So don't say it hasn't happened before. It has happened before. It happens like a plague. Gradually, they are coming up. So it is the responsibility of every African. It's no longer a matter of leadership. It's a call for every African to rise up and say no to Chinese people. Because the way they treat their citizens and is not the way we treat our citizens. Their culture is different. And if we keep quiet, in coming times, the Chinese will colonize us. We've suffered it from Europeans and Americans. Now, we are now gradually allowing the Chinese to take over our countries through the way we negotiate, through loan negotiations, through business transactions. So, do we need somebody to tell us this? So, my fellow Africans, whether you're in your house or whether you're in your office, you need to wake up. You are gradually being enslaved. You see, little things that matters is happening gradually. And if you don't take time, it grows. And Africa will be conquered again and been taken away. And then you ask yourself, when did it happen? It's happened because you are silent. It happened because you are docile. It happens because you are afraid. You don't speak up. It happens because you believe that silence is golden. Under this context, under this environment, under this dispensation, you don't need to keep quiet. You need to speak up. You need to stand on your feet and say, no. My fellow Africans, wake up. Stop sleeping. This is the time to open your eyes. This is the time to negotiate on equal basis. Have respect for yourself. Look at now, they've started mistreating us in China because they know that our government can't do anything. If the government can't do anything, what of the citizens? And that is why I'm calling all of you now to wake up. Don't tolerate this kind of mistreatment. Don't tolerate this kind of disrespectfulness. They are disrespecting you. You see, once they disrespect one person, they disrespected every other person. So their attitude to one person will affect their attitude to all. If you think it ends in Shanghai or it ends in Wuhan, it's not going to end there. It's going to come down to some African countries. Because that's the way life operates. So that's why you need to be proactive. That's why you need to wake up. Thank you.